dapat kasali doon sa mga local na yun. And don't allow them to give permit. Inyo yan eh. Primary responsibility nyo yan, protected area. Why are you allowing the local? Ako, pag inalaw namin sa Las Piñas, Parañaque, Wetland Park yung local, tapos na yung Las Piñas, Parañaque.
Napapansin ko kanina pa, mahilig kayo dito magturuan, kundi magturuan maghugas ng kamay. Ang pinakala, sinabi niyo po, Secretary Loyzaga, it was before your term, okay? Sige, granting gano'n na nga. Now, ikaw na nakaupo at alam mo may mga violation, correct?
We are being very careful as far as establishing whose responsibility and authorities were put in line during the process of the construction of these particular structures. We cannot just point fingers, as you said. We have
For inventory of structures, these are the resorts mentioned during the privilege speech of the Honorable Senator Tulfo. For the Montefrio Resort, they have their PAMBI clearance issued last 2019 and their ECC issued last 2021. The Twin Mountain View Resort with PAMBI clearance issued last 2022 and their ECC issued last 2023. The Villa Recurso, PAMBI clearance issued last 2022 but no ECC yet.
Question. Ito mga resort 2 na to, kailan sila natayo?
I believe during the pandemic, I think they started 2019. That's the time when we get to monitor and conduct inventory on the structures.
So, for
within
example, si
PAMBI.
Montefrio Resort, meron siyang PAMBI, nung nag-apply siya ng PAMBI resolution, wala pa siyang structure that time.
Ongoing, I think it started as a private resort, private rest house, and they expanded to a resort. So I think
Wait, so nung private rest house siya, meron ba siyang clearance to be a private resort?
none, Your Honor.
So, may violation na siya to begin with. Tapos binigyan niyo pa rin ng permit?
It
So
was
parang
the
yung mali, kinorek nyo by giving them a permit.
may we mention also that these resorts are within the multiple use zone, Your
Okay,
Honor.
regardless, but they,
Ha? Ikaw
Yes,
ang head.
I am the
Ikaw
OIC
ang nagbigay
regional.
ng permit na yan.
No, Your Honor.
Sino?
It was not yet
Sino?
I reported 2023. I think Ma'am, are you asking for the regional executive director during that time, ma'am?
Kung sino nagbigay ng permit?
The permit was the ECC, ma'am, or the PAMBI clearance? For the PAMBI clearance, it was the PAMBI. For the ECC, it was the EMB. EMB, ang ECC po, director.
Secretary, for example, this case, itong Montefrio Resort, so it was a private resort. So, paano siya natayo as a private resort? And then nag-apply siya para maging open to the public na resort. When, to begin with, parang may violation na siya sa umpisa pa lang.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for that question. If I may refer to the LGU to also provide information that is needed, because any structure that will be built requires a building permit. As in the case of the Captain's Peak, they were given a building permit without an ECC.
But
So
you're
it's not-
supposed to protect.
That-
Area. We have no more protected area. From my experience,
Thank you.
Kaya hindi kayo dapat kasali doon sa mga local na yun. And don't allow them to give permit. Inyo yan eh. Primary responsibility nyo yan, protected area. Why are you allowing the local? Ako, pag inalaw namin sa Las Piñas, Parañaque, Wetland Park yung local, tapos na yung Las Piñas, Parañaque, Wetland Park. Wala na yun. Wala na yun. Wala na yun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I may just point out, these were all basically ongoing before my administration. And so we are dealing with what is on the ground now.
To
Yes,
tell
Madam Chair.
the DNR, yun ang palagi ko sinasabi sa DNR. When you're not about protecting the environment, don't join DNR. Join DTI. Because DTI is the one promoting business. But if you are with DNR, you're supposed to protect the environment. So if you want to make money, join DTI. Don't join DNR.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pwede makasingit. Napapansin ko kanina pa, mahilig kayo dito magturuan, kundi magturuan maghugas ng kamay. Ang pinakala, sinabi niyo po, Secretary Loyzaga, it It was before your term. Okay? Sige, granting gano'n na nga. Now, ikaw na nakaupo at alam mo may mga violation. Correct it. Wag no, don't blame other people. Don't blame the previous administration.
Very respectfully, sir, I am not blaming anyone. I am acknowledging the facts as they are on the ground when I assumed office.
Exactly.
And this is why I have begun to institute these investigations, and we have suspended the power of the region to actually issue ECCs.
Kasi ang sinabi niyo po kanina, Madam Secretary, na ang nag-issue ng building permit ay yung LGU, right?
That is the reality on
Correct.
the ground, sir.
Exactly. I know that. BPLO, okay? Kasama pa rin dyan, magbibigay ng permit kung kinakailangan. Now, kayo bilang taga-monitor ng environment sa DNR, you should have monitored that. Now, nakarating sa inyong kaalaman na bawal yan, you should have coordinated with the LGU and tell the LGU dahil may tinatawag din na Senlo, bawal dyan kasi protected area yan. Dapat hindi nyo binigyan ng building permit yan in the first place. That's part of your monitoring.
Thank you very much, sir. And all these investigations have surfaced, in fact, these facts. We are being very careful as far as establishing whose responsibility and authorities were put in line during the process of the construction of these particular structures. We cannot just point fingers, as you said. We have to acknowledge that the investigation and the evidence need to be quite thorough. And that's what we're doing now, respectfully, sir, if I may. At this point, we cannot establish the exact facts during the time that these constructions actually occurred. Even Red Dumagan was not the red during that time. And therefore, we are actually constituting now and actually constructing now these events in order for us to take the appropriate action. So your recommendations, sir, are very well taken. I would just like to humbly represent that we are not pointing fingers here. We are acknowledging the facts on the ground. We are acknowledging the gaps in the law. And we are acknowledging also the possible gaps in our implementation, having seen that, in fact, these structures were erected even if these are in protected areas. I think, sir, at this point, and Madam Chair, with your indulgence, it's really important for us to understand the circumstances behind these actual constructions. We are not fully in control of these areas, as you know, given the kind of manpower that we have. The local governments are partners in the protection of the environment. This is not the DNR's sole job. This is the job of the DNR.
You did mention na kayo ay partners ng LGU.
Yes.
In protecting the environment. So, ba't wala kayo bang ginagawang coordination sa LGU na each time may magpapatayo, kukuha ng permit para, building permit para magpatayo sa isang protected area, dapat kinukonsulta kayo, dumadaan muna sa inyo? Wala bang ganong klaseng coordination?
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, that is what we're doing at this point. I've also had very close coordination with Secretary Ben-Hur Abalos. We are going to try to produce the process that is required in order for, in fact, this to be stopped at the inception rather than the corrective measures that we are having to take now. So between the DLG and ourselves and the DOT, because ecotourism is such a big part of, in fact, this actual activity, we are now coordinating very closely, and we have recommendations on the process as well as the constitution and function of the PAMB that will be submitted as part of our position paper, sir.
Kasi yung BPLO or yung LGU, bago sila magbigay ng building permit, meron tinatawag na zoning, right? Tama? At doon sa zoning, malalaman kung anong area yan, whether that area is protected, whether that area ay hindi dapat mapatayuan o pwedeng patayuan. Then, proper coordination with the LGU, you should know, malalaman mo kung ano yung mga areas na dapat hindi na pinatayuan ng building, na dapat yung LGU may coordination din sa inyo para mutually masasabi nyo na hindi pwede dyan, or pwede dyan, okay dyan. So, sa nakikita ko po kasi, marami na napatayo na struktura at sinasabi nyo nga, okay, sige, hindi niyo po control yun. Control po ng LGU. Pero kung meron kayong proper coordination, hindi sana napatay yung building ngayon through proper coordination with the LGU.
Respectfully, sir, I agree with you, and therefore the coordination needs to be made more effective. I also recognize the point of Madam Chair on the difficulty regarding local dynamics and the pressures that we face in this type of activities. If I may also, sir, I think that we need to acknowledge that in some of these areas, there are titles, alienable and disposable lands that are already with title. And therefore, we have no option but to recognize the rights and have that regulation be part of the LGU and DNR coordination, as you have suggested, sir.